Hi, and welcome to Have a Chat. I am your host today, Veronique Arsenault, and I am joined, of course, by my wonderful co-host, Judy Loge, and here we are together again.
Yes, nice to see you. It's, like I said, a bright spot to my Mondays, Veronique. I don't like them. I don't mind saying it. There are worse things in life than a Monday, but I just, it's a draggy day for me. I'm always busy like you are. And so, but here we are with our viewers, and thanks everyone for tuning in to our Rogers Have a Chat.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have such a great show lined up for today. So many wonderful things happening and lots of great information as always. But let's kick off the show today, Judy, with your quote.
Well, actually, Veronique, it's a long one, but I saw this. Karen Krebs-Stymist had sent this to me at one point, and she'd actually put on my J Connection, and I thought it was just too beautiful not to share. So I'll try to take my time. It is a bit longer, but I love it. It is entitled, Comes the Dawn. After a while, you'll learn the subtle difference between holding a hand and chaining a soul. And you'll learn that love doesn't mean leaning, and company doesn't mean security. And you begin to learn that kisses aren't contracts and presents aren't promises. And you begin to accept your defeats with your head up and your eyes open, with the grace of a woman, not the grief of a child. And you learn to build all your roads on today, because tomorrow's ground is too uncertain for plans. And futures have a way of falling down in mid-flight. After a while, you learn that even sunshine burns you if you get too much. So you plant your own garden and you decorate your own soul instead of waiting for someone to bring you flowers. And you learn that you really can endure, that you really are strong, and you are really, really full of worth. And you learn and learn with every goodbye you learn. And that is by Veronica A. Schuffstahl. Isn't it beautiful?
Beautiful. It's incredible. And it's, it's hard sometimes to realize that, we need to rely on ourselves, and we need to, that sometimes when you're looking for those signs or those promises from people, that you really just have to realize that you need to live in that moment and take it for what it is and enjoy it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love it. Things have been busy, and we're a week into the time change, and we all know how much I absolutely despise time change, but that's okay. I'm starting to come around finally. It takes me a couple weeks really to get over the time change, which is stupid, I know, but it is what it is. But what have you been up to these days, Judy?
Well, let me see. My brother was over this past weekend with his wife, and they both have very, very busy lives. And so it's hard for them always to get that day trip in, even though it's Fredericton, it's still just to get the time off and to work it out. But so that was really, really nice. And then Jansen, our youngest son's in Moncton, and he likes doing his thing in Moncton. And of course, with the COVID, he hasn't been traveling back and forth much at all, but he was able to get home this weekend. And I have to give a shout out to Jansen. He's a fabulous little cook. I mean, he's making his own mother here look bad. I have to get some recipes from him and learn to do it his way to actually make things better in the kitchen. So, you know what? It doesn't matter if they're home for a day or 2 days or a month. You always miss them when they go back. And that's just the way it is. So, yeah. And I've been, seeing my parents more and still being cautious, even though restrictions are lifted. I'm still taking caution to wear my mask around them. The pandemic is not over. Even though the government's lifted, and put the different word out there about mandates, I'm still going with my mask on. And I see a lot of people actually are. And of course, there are those that aren't. So, but I'm just choosing to, and that's just me, to protect other people. What about you, Vera? What have you been up to?
Yeah, it was, it's been busy. Absolutely. I mean, I think we're busy just in general anyway, but, we've had, mom's youngest sister's, visiting, which has been wonderful. My aunt Andrea has been, visiting, and actually her husband and daughter arrived on the weekend. So that's been really nice for us to have. I always just love having, family around. So it's good to catch up, and, and it always gives you, a change of mind, right? That's the great thing. And the weekend was a busy one, and it for the first time in a long time, it felt a little bit lighter as far as the world, I guess, in my own
Yep.
mind. And I volunteer at the Legion. I'm a member of the executive at the Legion British number 3,
Yes.
and so it was their corned beef and cabbage. So huge success. But as we talk about volunteers, and we always talk about volunteers, everybody always sees kind of what happens the day of, right? And it's busy, and there's
Mm-hmm.
lots going on, and there's lots of activity, but most people don't see what has to happen leading up to that, right? And
I know.
I volunteer with some of the most incredible people at the Legion, and all of
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one fellow's 86, right? And there he
Wow.
is, for days leading up to the corned beef and cabbage or the smelt or whatever, peeling
Mm.
vegetables, and then he spends the day in the kitchen
Yeah.
cooking and dishing out. It's always I'm always amazed by it, and really in awe of everything that our volunteers do here in the city, and of course, New Brunswick in general is known for volunteering. So anyway, it was corned beef and
Mm-hmm.
cabbage on Saturday, and then I was out to New Maritime to their tap room to celebrate their grand opening. So
Ah.
now, of course, they've been
Yes.
open for a bit,
Yep.
but the pandemic didn't allow for a real grand
Mm-hmm.
opening. The
Yeah.
COVID protocols and just trying to navigate life just didn't allow for it. But it was great to hear some live music, to see people laughing and enjoying themselves, and it just felt a little bit lighter. And then the family, we went out for supper and enjoyed a great family supper out. So
Gee.
it was a great Saturday, I really have to say. And and then
Yes.
Sunday I did those ever exciting things, laundry and washing the floor. So yeah, really glamorous stuff. Yeah, so
Oh,
that it is what it is, right? That is life. But
yeah.
I mean, listen, spring has sprung. We are finally
Mm-hmm.
in that spring weather. We've had our St.
I
Patrick's
know.
Day storm. It happened on the weekend. So,
Yep.
um, you know, how are you feeling now that spring is here?
I find it's really hard with my two. Everyone knows I have two big dogs, so I love to get them out, but it's been horrifically messy, and so it's a process bringing them out, bringing them in, drying them off, and you just get them groomed, and then they're all muddy again. But I just look forward to the fact that it's going to be warmer and the days are longer, and it just gives me a sense of hope, Veronique. That we've been in this winter. It seems like forever with the COVID going on, so. I am excited. Let's just say I don't like March necessarily, but I'm really looking forward to the months to come. Really, really much so. And I've been doing a lot of reading. I have really big bags under my eyes as usual because I do read and I cannot give up my books. Did you want to hear about a couple? I brought them that are good books.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, because I know you're a reader too, but I know how busy you are and with your
I-
council meetings and everything going on in your life. And I did, by the way, support the corned beef and cabbage dinner. And again, a shout out to all those
Yes.
workers and a beautiful, beautiful dinner. This one I have just finished not too long ago. It's a book by Claire McIntosh and is entitled After the End. And basically it's kind of a one of those ones where it switches from one timeline into another, and I'm not used to that, but it's about a couple that you think are this very, very strong couple, which they are, and you think they're going to, I won't tell you too much, but just how sometimes you get into a relationship and you think it's going to be the ultimate, and then things start to happen and life does get in the way of your dreams and reality strikes. So it's a New York Times bestselling author. It says utterly heartrending and incredibly uplifting. I really,
Ooh,
really loved it. It says compelling and clever, tender and true. And Leanne Moriarty, the author of The Big Little Lies, said, I can't stop thinking about this book. Claire McIntosh, After
amazing.
the End.
Oh,
This one was a 430-page novel I read. Now,
oh,
this one might not be for everybody, but I will tell you it's phenomenal from a personal point of view. It is written by Douglas Stewart, a Scotsman, and it's the national bestseller as well. Shuggie Bain, it's called, and he is the 2020 Booker Prize recipient. So we took that. winner of, he's the finalist for the National Book Award, finalist for the Kirkus Prize, shortlisted for the Center for Fiction. It goes on and on, long listed for the Andrew Carnegie Medal for Excellence of Fiction. And just to give you an idea, folks, I will say that it's crude. It's vulgar, a lot of the wording, but it's so real life that you have to forgive that because it's part of the story. So, winner of the 2020 Booker Prize, this is the unforgettable story of Hughie Shuggie Bain, a sweet and lonely boy who spends his 1980s childhood in a rundown public housing in Glasgow, Scotland, taking care of his beloved mother, Agnes. Agnes is a proud, beautiful woman who turns herself out, such as Elizabeth Taylor, her idol, did, but she is enthralled to alcohol and spends most of the family weekly benefits on extra long lager and bottles of vodka. A heartbreaking story of addiction, sexuality, and love. Shuggie Bain is an epic portrayal of a working class family and a queer childhood from a masterful novelist. So pick it up. It's amazing.
Wow, it sounds incredible.
Yeah,
both
it is.
Both sound incredible. I'll absolutely look into those. And you're right. I am an avid reader. I don't get the chance to read as much as I would like. Sorry, you can hear my pooch barking in the background. I apologize. He our little fart. So Bud is the one that you can hear barking right now, and he's 14, and so he's getting a little cranky in his old age. So when he doesn't get his way immediately, he starts barking and doesn't stop. So yeah, I know, poor little fella.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm absolutely an avid reader, but don't have as much time as I would like lately.
No.
But that's okay. I'm actually looking forward to taking some time off in the coming weeks and sitting down with a good book. So thanks for those, Judy.
Okay, you can borrow them anytime, Daryl.
So one of the, lately it's been really not lately. It's the last couple of years. It's just been tough to watch the news on a daily basis, and there's a lot of heavy stuff going on in the world, and not the least of which is the war in Ukraine right now, and everything that's happening there, the stories that are coming out of there, the bombings that are happening, and just the incredible acts that are happening all over the country. And it's hard to understand how we're here, but we're going into a couple of weeks now. I apologize for the pooches. They are now fighting in the kitchen. And that's what happens when you have dogs, right? Dogs and kids and family members and all sorts of things happen when you're shooting from home. So so the news has been tough to watch, and especially as you're seeing the bombing on the maternity hospital and things like that. So it's horrifying, and it's hard to understand how we've ended up here, but here we are.
I know. And Veronique, as you know, where people around the province may have experienced the power outage on the weekend, we were without power for a few hours. And yes, it's an inconvenience. And yes, it wasn't fun because, like you, I had laundry to do and I wanted to make meals. And, but then I stopped and thought about these people over in the Ukraine. And of course, people, there's been how many, killed over in Russia too. I think there's been 14,000 Russian soldiers have been killed all because of this crazy war. And thousands of, people hit on with bombings in public buildings, the theater and the art school, and just recently the shopping mall, and people trying to hide out. And, I know a lot of 10 million Ukrainians have fled. And there's still so many, though, that are in hiding and within the border. And it's just devastating to see these little families and lives taken. But I stopped and I thought to myself, here I am, inconvenienced. For what? 4 to 5 hours? And that's all it was, really, 4 to 5 hours. Some people were a day without power. So what? Yep. I got to thinking, it's not our lives at risk. There are people over in the Ukraine, in Mariupol without electricity. They have no running water. Their food supply is running out. They're freezing. And this is long term. This has been going on. What now? It's at least a month, right? This war has been active. So, we should just stop and contemplate how blessed we really are. And when something such as a power outage strikes, that, thank God, that's all it is, right? That we don't have to be one of those people hiding and trying to avoid bombs and death. So, Yeah, no, I just hope things just have to get better. And I don't like watching the news, but then again, we have to be enlightened as to what's going on in our world too, right? We don't know what the future is going to hold,
Absolutely.
what role Canadians are going to play in this. Um, it's traumatizing, really, to know this is actually happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more we know, I guess, the better we can do. Which it's hard to understand how we can do that right now. But absolutely. And I know that there's a lot of Ukrainian refugees that are going to a variety of countries around the world, and there's a lot of sanctions being imposed on Russia because of the invasion and all of that. And President Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, has kind of become a folk hero almost in his
Yeah,
defiance. And so we hope that it will come to an end quickly, and that that the Ukrainian people can get back to living their lives in their
yeah,
democratically elected country, right? They elected their
right,
president. So
right.
we hope
Yeah,
that democracy can return sooner rather than later. But so
yes.
shifting gears a little bit here, but March 21st, World Down Syndrome Day, and the slogan is "Rock Your Socks." So I had a couple of mismatched socks on my feet, and of course posted to social media because that's what you do. But really, just all in support. I think most people know that my mother taught children with special needs for her entire career. So, near and dear
Hmm.
to my heart, absolutely. And so I was rocking my socks this week and loved every minute of it. But, it's bringing that awareness to World Down Syndrome Day.
I love Down syndrome. And all I want to say is that if people don't know, Down syndrome, the disorder is a duplication of the 21st chromosome, right? So there's actually 6,000 babies affected worldwide, every year. That's something. And there
Mm-hmm.
are, there's at least 13 individuals around the world that are breaking barriers, artists, athletes, runway models. I mean, there's nothing that they're not doing. Um, I just happen
Mm-hmm.
to love Madeline Stewart, the Australian model. She's rocking it. Pablo Pineda is the first European to ever get a university degree with Down syndrome. And then we have, what's the other little guy? Suji Desai. And he can play 7 instruments and is the first Down syndrome individual to play at Carnegie Hall. So he's just one of the many that are
Amazing.
making the world happen right now. It's beautiful.
Amazing. Love it.
Yes.
So, you know what, Judy? We have a huge show today. We've got some amazing guests coming up right after the break, and we're going to learn all about a new children's book that's been published, and then we're going to hear about an
Mhm.
incredible project that's happening here in Miramichi. And so, don't go too far, everybody. Absolutely grab your favorite snack or your favorite beverage or your favorite blankie, whatever it is that you need. Cuddle up on the couch, and we'll see you right after the break. So, don't go too far, everybody. We've got a great show up ahead for you. Hi, and welcome back to Have a Chat. I am your host today, Veronique Arsenault, and I am joined by my always stunningly beautiful co-host, Judy Loge.
She's paid to say that. Thanks, Veronique. Back at you. Yes, big money.
It's all good. Yeah, big money, big money. As long as you pay me in snacks, I'm good to
Okay.
go.
I got
So we have an incredibly full show today. So excited about our guests and some really interesting topics. And of course, we always have wonderful guests and interesting topics on the show. But these next few guests, we actually have 3 guests on today, and I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about today. So our first 2
Yeah.
guests are joining us for this um, for this segment, and we actually have with us Janet Daigle, who is an author, and Rick Knowles, who is actually the illustrator for the novel or for the book that she wrote. So welcome, Janet and Rick.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Janet. So for all of the viewers out there to get to know you, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, as you know, my name is Janet Daigle. I am a registered social worker here in New Brunswick. Originally from Newfoundland, but met my husband Dallas while we lived in Alberta, and he is from the Miramichi region. So that's how I got to be here in New Brunswick.
Mhm.
I have 2 lovely stepdaughters and a zoo of animals at home. And as you said, I just published my very first children's book. Riley does big things.
Yay! Amazing. Wow.
That's incredible. I can't wait to
Thank
hear all
you.
about it. But before we get to that, Rick, you tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. My name is Rick Knowles, and I've grown up in the Miramichi, and I'm married to Jody Knowles, my lovely wife, and I have 3 boys, and I'm a proud Miramichier, and I lived here my whole life, and I work at the college, and I just surrounded by lots of great people all the time. So
Yes, and I know you do great things for our
Amazing.
community, Rick. So, personally knowing Rick, I can say he's an amazing individual. Getting to you again, Janet, congratulations on your book, which we're going to hear more about. But first of all, tell us at what ripe age you took an interest in writing, and then maybe after high school, if you pursued, other studies that involved writing.
Certainly. I began, reading and writing at a really young age. I wrote my first poem when I was 7. Um, it was certainly a protective factor in my life. It helped me deal with big emotions, express myself. And so writing really became a passion of mine as I was a teenager, straight into university. I went to Memorial University and studied psychology and English. I did what they call a cognate, or a minor in English literature. And at that time, I took every writing course that I could because I was so passionate about it. Um, I was telling Judy earlier, I even took 4 Shakespeare courses. So there you go. You know how passionate I was about it at the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Totally.
Oh, I got it. I got out of Shakespeare as quick as I could when I was in university. You had to take it first year, and that was it.
I
Yeah,
loved
and
it.
I absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Me too. Yes.
No, no. I mean, listen, no question, brilliant writer. He was, but no, not my thing. But if we take a look, so you've written this children's book, and that's incredible. I can't even imagine being able to come up with the creativity to do it. But how did that idea come to be that you decided you were going to write a children's book?
It certainly was a process. So I'll just give you a little bit more of a background on my education. So following my degree at Memorial, I studied social work at York University, and so I've built a career working with children and families. And prior to moving to New Brunswick, I worked as a family school liaison worker with children who had social, emotional, behavioral barriers to education. And that's when I really started to write children's stories, because I would be helping these children, teaching them skills like social emotional learning. And we would read all the books that we could find in the library, and then we'd run out. And so then I just started to write my own stories to read to them. So forward, we moved here in 2016, and I began my work with adults at the college, and really missed working with children. And so in the past year or so, I just got to this crossroads where I was really missing working with children, and decided that I wanted to manifest a future full of children. So I decided now was the right time to publish.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
What a journey. But, what kind of a process is it to actually, get that book published?
There's different routes that one can take. Obviously, there is the traditional route that everyone hopes, to go with the traditional publishing houses. But it's become more and more common for writers to publish on an individual basis. So that's the route that I chose to take, and I chose to get assistance from Friesen Press. So Friesen Press Publishing does assisted publishing, and that's where it started.
Interesting. Wicked.
Amazing. Wow. It still boggles the mind that, like, to see someone
Yes.
write a book and publish it. I love it. But Rick, so at some point you were a budding illustrator and animator, and we know, of course, how busy you have been over the last number of years. And we had you on the show a couple of years ago to feature the beautiful windows in St. Michael's Basilica. But how did you get started? How did you figure out this is what I want to do? I want to draw.
Well, I started at a young age as well. When I was a little boy, I used to sit in front of the TV on Saturday morning, and I'd get a brown paper bag from the groceries and sit in front of the TV and draw everything. And my folks picked up some World Book encyclopedias, and I used to draw everything from A to Z into those books, and I just loved it. And I was lucky to be surrounded by a lot of really great friends in the neighborhood that the kids used to encourage me to draw stuff for them and ask me to draw, and of course my mother would put things on the fridge, so that was good. And I hit very encouraging teachers in elementary too, like Mrs. Hallahan.
My mother.
Your mother, yeah.
She taught
yeah.
art. She taught English, but she also taught you art. So she's so proud of that.
Oh yes, and I enjoyed. She really encouraged me to draw and stuff too in the class. I had a lot of fun in your mom's class, for sure.
Yes, yes.
Good.
And I suppose we should. I was going to ask you more. Well, I can really quickly, if you just want to quickly tell us, Ricky, about your art career, because you've done all that, but then to get to where you are now and your job currently, tell us a little bit about the in-between. So after high school, where you went, and from there.
Okay, well, I got a little sidetracked at first, and I didn't really think that you could make a career in art. So I went to school in Moncton for a while, and I met somebody in my class whose father was actually an art director, and he encouraged me to go talk to his father. And then I got the idea, okay, I guess you can make a career out of this. So then I changed my focus and got into school, and I went to Sheridan in Ontario. Then I went on, worked for Disney, and then I came back and I finished my diploma at NBCC actually, and started teaching there. And it was such a great opportunity to come back and share, all of that, and live in the beautiful Miramichi at the same time. So I was very lucky, and I just love to draw and create and share that with everybody. So.
And you're an animator. You are at NBCC, as you said, and you have a lot of students there. So they're learning from the best of the best. Congratulations on all of that.
Thank you so much.
Janet, so I mean, you obviously knew that Rick had an incredible amount of talent, and how did you figure out what you wanted your main character to look like? How did that process work between you and Rick so that he could illustrate what your vision really was?
Yeah. So yeah, Rick and I had worked together at the Miramichi campus of NBCC before I transferred to Moncton, and I knew he had written or illustrated a children's book prior, and so I reached out to him for some mentorship. And I didn't have it in my mind at that time that I wanted Rick to illustrate per se, because I really had no idea. Like I had no idea what I was doing. And he's so kind and so genuine, and he said, "You know what? I can help you with that." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Perfect." And so we started chatting, and I had no idea, honestly. I all I knew was that I wanted Riley to be petite with red hair and blue eyes. And I said, "Rick, I trust you. I know you're so good at what you do. Take it from there." And that's exactly what he did. He just went running with it, and I cried the first time he showed me the draft illustrations. They were so beautiful, and he really took my story and just gave it life, and it was beautiful. Yeah.
Well, thank you,
and this
Janet.
story yes, Rick, it's incredible. Janet, before I ask Rick his question, this book pertains to what age group, first of all?
It's aimed at ages 4 to 8. So we're looking at, of course, like social emotional learning, and we really want to get in there and be proactive and reach them at an early age.
Beautiful. And the parents should be sure to pick up that book, Riley Does Big Things. Rick, what kind of a process is it for you as an illustrator? I mean, she gives you this character, and then to put that character on every single page doing different things. What does that look like? How do you begin?
Well, it's a lot of fun, actually. So, um, first of all, you have to know the character's personality before you can really create, a visual interpretation of that. And so I would ask Janet a few questions just about the character's background, Riley and Shane and the other characters. And so starting with Riley, I knew he was small and that, but you really have to know the characters, like, and get an idea and believe that they really exist. And then once we get talking, and then we can sort of get an idea of how she sees the character, and then we do lots of conceptual designs, and then for the book itself, once you have the characters down, then you do some rough storyboards, and that's your idea of how all the little compositions are going to work. And Janet was so easy to work with and fun, and like, we added a few little things like the sandcastle and that sort of thing in to tie certain parts of the story in together. And it was just, it was a fun process for sure. So.
Sounds like it.
But it's an amazing process to listen to the two of you and to see how in love with this you are. I love it.
Yeah.
It must have been such an amazing feeling when you finally had it published. But Janet, from the time that you first, connected with Rick and you had written your story up until that point, how long from like when you connected with Rick and to ask him his advice and he ended up illustrating it to actually getting published, how long was that process? And kind of walk us through, how you got there.
Yeah. It was actually a whirlwind. So as I had said, I started writing children's stories probably like 7, 8 years ago. But that's not the story I decided to publish first. It was a story that I'd actually sat down and written, I think, in one day, last June, and just fell in love with it. And so I reached out to Rick and Freeze Press. Between June and January, that was it. We were published in January,
Wow.
2 months ahead of schedule. Yeah, it was really
Wow.
fast.
Insane. How do you
Yeah.
do that with COVID during a pandemic? Everything's virtual. Did you have any in-person meetings at all, or just you show him what you want? He gives you something, back virtually, and you say, okay, I love it, or change this. It must have been very tricky during COVID.
Absolutely. Everything was online, virtual meetings, and I say bless Rick because he was doing this on his summer break. It was supposed to be a summer break. And I know he put lots of hours into this. So we basically just had guidance from Freeze and Press as to what time the illustrations needed to be in, what time my manuscript, final manuscript needed to be in. And then just little things along the way. And it was super fast. It was 6 months. But I was going to say earlier, it was probably one of the best times of my life. It was just so much fun. Being 44 years old and finally having a childhood dream come true was amazing. And I thank you so much, Rick and Freeze and Press, for helping me along the way. And I look forward to just more adventures. Rick and I are already putting our heads together on the next book. So,
yep,
that was actually my next question. So, number one, do you have plans to write another one and to illustrate another one together? And number two, how do we get Riley and Does Big Things?
Absolutely. So as I said, I started writing several years ago. So I have several other unpublished books. So we're choosing another one to go forward with. But I'm sure Raleigh could do a part 2. But yeah, you can get Raleigh Does Big Things from the Freeze and Press bookstore. It's on Amazon.ca and com, Barnes and Nobles, Chapters, Indigo. So all the major online retailers.
Oh my gosh,
So,
that's so exciting to see your books out there and everywhere. And Rick, all your beautiful work coming to life. It's just,
Thank you.
I'm just excited about it for everybody and parents and schools and children to get their hands on this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
and we cannot wait to hear about the next adventures and your next book. So as soon as you publish the next one, because we were expecting it to be as whirlwind out there as this one, so we can't wait to hear all about the next one. We want to thank both of you for coming on today, for sharing your experiences, and actually for putting your heart and soul into something for kids.
Yes.
You know, especially these days with everything that's going on, we love anything to do with helping kids process their emotions, and I think some of us adults need that as well. But anyway, we want to thank both of our guests today. Don't go too far, everybody. We have another great guest coming right back. As I always say, grab a snack, grab your beverage of choice, and get comfy on the couch. We'll be right back after the break. Hi, and welcome back to Have a Chat. I am your host today with my, of course, I always say it because it's true, gorgeous, beautiful, stunningly wonderful co-host, Judy Lozier.
And I just sit here and say thank you. And back to you, Vero. Okay, what else can I say?
It's all good. It's all, listen, we all need to hear it every now and again, so it's good.
Okay.
We have another wonderful guest that's joining us right now. Brenda Summers is joining us to talk to us about Project Prom Dress, and I can't wait to hear all about this. I know that it's been going on for a little while, but before we jump right into that, Brenda, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, as you said, I'm Brenda Summers. I'm married to Hal. We have two boys, Justin and Josh, and of course, so we got two wonderful daughter-in-laws, Patty and Vanessa, and we also have 5 great grandkids. So yeah, we
my
have one little
goodness,
girl, and twin boys, and then another little boy, and then a baby. So yeah, it's a
And
lot of
they're
fun.
all-
It's busy.
It's busy, but they're beautiful and healthy. And what more would you want, right? That's
They are.
just exciting.
Exactly.
One day
Yeah.
I'll be hopefully in your shoes too. Brenda, we're here to talk about something that I have a great interest in. I'm sure the viewers will be wanting to hear all about it. What exactly is Project Prom Dress? And like, where did it all begin? Tell us all about it.
Okay, well, Project Prom Dress started actually 7 years ago. Unfortunately, we missed 2 years during COVID, but so we started back in 2016. And our first year, we had like 12 girls that basically ended up with dresses. The next year, we had 36. The following year, it went to 50. And then in 2019, which was our last year, we had 50 or 64, sorry, girls that have got dresses. So it started actually. Dale Drisdale was her idea. She kind of contacted. There was I think 5 of us or whatever. She kind of contacted a bunch of us. It was actually Brenda Norton and Shelley Ward Kane and Lynn Cronier and Susan Hare and actually Bonnie Vickers and myself. She kind of got us together and wanted to know if we could, what we thought about having this Project Prom Dress. So do you want me to explain what we kind of do on it?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So the goal is that we want to give girls a chance to be able to find a nice prom dress, and it's actually free. We usually start planning in November, just to say like, we're going to have it this year and stuff like that, and when approximately. So then we actually start really planning in January, like setting dates and just the logistics of it and stuff like that. Trying to think of what else here. Actually, it's held at the Point Church is where we have it. In the basement of the church, we actually changed the basement to look like a wedding or a prom dress shop. And so it does take, that's why it kind of takes us about a week or so to get ready. We decorate it all up. We have up to 20 volunteers usually that help us. And we also have a number of men that will help us set up changing rooms. And we drape it all up like with the black drapes and stuff like that. And again, like, we couldn't do this without a lot of donations. I mean, all the dresses are donated. The church, they're very supportive, like, to do this. I mean, our lead pastor, Kevin, loves to get involved with the community and do stuff like this. And so, I mean, if we need, they've been good. Like, if we need money for decorating and stuff, they usually will help us out and stuff like that. So any donations, like the dresses, and also we take like shoes and jewelry and stuff like that. So all that comes in. So it's really good. And it's a lot of fun too. And we don't just want, I mean, we want the girls to get a dress, but we really want it to be an experience for them too. We want to make them feel really good and feel good in the dresses and stuff.
I'm sure you do. And on that note, what kind of dresses are you looking for? I mean, we know they change up, and one year it's this style, one year it's that style. So how would I know, or other people know in the future, what to donate as far as the styles go?
Well,
or dresses?
We try not to be too demanding on what it is. We would like what we kind of say is we want, gently used dresses, or dresses that, you think that girls are going to want to wear. Like, we don't want like a bridesmaid's dress that maybe somebody wore 10 or 15 years ago. But like, it's hard sometimes too, because I mean, some dresses, they stay in style for a while, or the style comes back. So we have a big room that the church has. So we get the dresses and we go through them each year and we pack them away. So we have some that we keep from year to year, but we kind of try to go through them each year. And we're really excited this year. Vanessa at the Wedding Lark actually donated 39 dresses, new ones, to us this week. Yeah. So
39
really
dresses.
excited. Yeah. So we're 39? Really excited about that. Yeah. She had a lot that were on sale, and so we're really excited. Jeez. Actually, we were going to go through stuff like that tonight and hoping to get some of that out on our Facebook, on the Facebook page and stuff like that for the girls. So, and actually we're planning, obviously this week is we're having it this year, and we're having it this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, like the 24th, 25th, and 26th. So and this year we did it a little different, because when we started planning, we thought COVID, we weren't sure what was going to happen. So we tried to do it by appointment, and it kind of works out better by appointment, because we don't need a big crowd there, because we want to give the girls individual attention while they're trying them on and stuff like that. So we have 3 hours each night, and then Thursday night and Friday night, and then Saturday morning. And then we have 6 girls each hour, and they can bring 2 guests and stuff like that. So it's, nice. And so we've asked them this year to actually, to book their time. And if they want to book their time, they just need to go to the website, like the pointchurch.ca. And there's actually a thing there that says Project Prom. And if they click on that, it takes them to a place they can pick their time and stuff like that. So, but in saying that, because when we started, we kind of thought we might be limited. We don't want to see any girl, like, if they try to book and they can't get it, there's also, we're asking, just call the number at the church and they will get in touch with us, and we'll make sure that we get them fit in. Like, we don't want any to go without it. So to say what we take for donations, like I say, we want stuff that we think you would think that the girls would be, would enjoy wearing or would be happy to wear. And that's the other thing. When we started, we thought it was just kind of for the graduates, the girls that are graduating. But then we realized, there's kids in grade 10, 11, or whatever that are going to the prom with a guy. And, maybe the parents don't want to spend a big amount of money this year on these kids or whatever. So, and sometimes girls have a dress, but they're maybe invited to 2 or 3 other proms. So again, sometimes this is a second dress. So there's nothing, anybody that wants to come is welcome to come. And again,
beautiful
like
event.
I said, we're hoping they all get a dress. It is. And it's a lot of fun. Like I said, we have a lot of good volunteers and stuff like that as well.
And some beautiful dresses, I'm
That's
sure,
amazing.
coming through. And on that note, I'm going to go through my closet. And again, I do a lot of events, and you don't want to keep wearing the same dress to every event. I'm not like I'm Kate Middleton or anything. You know, I would wear the same dress, but we're in a small city, and who wants to be seen in the same dress everywhere you go? So I'm sure
Well,
I can go
I'm
through
sure
and
people would love
pop
your
up.
dresses, Judy.
I'm going to
I'm sure
peddle good
people would
luck
love
there,
your
Brenda.
dresses. I've seen a lot.
And
Actually, and
yours too.
speaking of that, donations, we're just, you can drop them off at the Point Church, they at the office there, and
Yeah.
it's a Town Hill, what is it, 582 King George Highway. So we just drop them off
Okay.
there, and then, like I say, we store them during the year. But again, it's really not too late if somebody has something. Again, it's starting on Thursday, so
Yeah.
you know, if not, if it's not for this year, we hope that this continues. Like I say, every year so far, we've had it. It's growing. So we're hoping this year it does as well. So I guess we'll just wait and see.
Veronique, isn't that something
Do
that
you?
there's no charge, that the girls can just get a dress, Veronique, and walk away with a gorgeous gown? And Brenda, there's no there's no cost for that, but to get alterations done, that's all they might need to pay for, right? If it needs to be taken in or a hemmed or
Yes.
something, that's it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Beautiful.
right. The
Beautiful.
alterations or anything like that. And you're right. It's not like you know, we're not asking for any monetary donations when the girls get the dress, like they're, you know, it's free. Now, one year we did have a mom that she left a card. So what we did, it just happened to be a teacher at one of the schools had contacted Dale, and there was a young guy that needed like something dressy, so we used the money for that to help buy him
Oh,
like some dressy clothes. So yeah, it's
nice.
like I said, it's a lot of fun, and it's really. And I remember, I think it was the first or second year, there was this little girl come in, and she was kind of, you know, she was kind of hunched over, like kind of. But when she put the dress on, it was just like she lit right up, and like her shoulders were back,
Oh,
and it's like I say, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun seeing. It's kind of
it
emotional
is.
sometimes, but it's a lot of fun.
It would
Yeah.
it would
Yeah,
be.
it
They
would
get
be.
their
Yeah.
self-esteem. They feel beautiful. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do
And
you?
like I said,
Do you find? Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
Do you find that some sizes sometimes are tougher to find, or that you don't get as many donations in a good variety of sizes, or do you not have that problem at all?
No, we have had over the years, we've had some, you know, like sometimes we get a lot of smaller sizes. I do know this year, I know Vanessa, the dresses that she donated, she has like, there is a good variety of sizes that she's donated for us this year. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the girls that are like, we have people that kind of help the girls when they're going in to look at dresses, and some of them have like, they're pretty good at sewing, not myself, but they will look at it and say, well, you know, we could probably get this done to it, like put like the like the ties on the back and open it up. And so even though it may not fit exactly, sometimes they have some good suggestions on how it possibly could be altered to fit if that needed to be the case or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So, but
Yeah.
again, the
Great.
alterations, but again, we have quite a variety. And the other thing sometimes that we have had, and I think I mentioned to Judy before, sometimes people have donated like shorter dresses and stuff. So what
Yeah.
we have done in the past, the girls are going to like a grad party or for graduation or something like that. So we also, if they find a dress in that rack, they're welcome to that as well. So, you know, sometimes they'll go with two dresses and hopefully shoes and jewelry and the whole everything. So, yeah.
What's
Amazing.
really exciting about this year with the restrictions lifting, and I was listening to the premier talking, you know, chances are they'll have a regular, fingers crossed, kind of prom this year, which will make your event that much more exciting that they get to showcase them
Yes.
properly. It's been really a downer the last
Yes.
couple of years for the graduates, and my heart went out to them because it's such a special time. You wait 12 long years to wear that beautiful gown. And of course, some people buy a brand new one. They've had it hanging in their closet, or they go to Project Prom dress and get one at your location. So
Yes.
I think it's just fabulous myself. Yeah.
I know we were really disappointed in the last 2 years, like not being able to do this, and felt really bad for, like you say, Judy, for the graduates. Like it's sad that they didn't get to do that
Yeah.
or whatever. But anyway,
I
you're right.
know.
Hopefully this year it's all done, and they'll all get to have a dress, and they'll all get to go.
Yeah. Looking forward to watching them. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
Should be
Brenda,
fun.
you did mention that that people can drop off prom dresses though all year round. Like if they, if I'm cleaning out my closet this summer and I find, because I also have a few dresses from a few events. So, but I can
Yes.
drop them off at the Point Church at any time.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes. I may get in trouble for that, but there's no reason. Like we would just get them because we have a room in another building that we actually store them in. So yeah, we would prefer that it's sort of like from January on, but
Yeah.
sure they're not going to turn them away if you come, because that's usually when we kind of start thinking about it. But yes, usually January to, like, because I say we try to have it in about March, but if you're going to get rid of them, then don't throw them out. We'll take them.
No, we won't.
Sounds
And
good.
Brenda, I
No.
just want to say
No.
on behalf of the community too, that Veronique and I, as you know, are very avid volunteers along with many, many other people in Miramichi. But I want to give thanks to you and
Yeah.
your organization and all those people you thanked, because volunteers are so
Yeah.
necessary to make beautiful things happen. And I know that it's a 3-day event, but people don't know unless they're watching what goes into that, like prior to this, and the decorating and the sizing and the racking and going through all the dresses to make sure they're properly, cared for. And it's a huge endeavor. So I really thank you for your volunteer work and all those that have done it in the past and will continue to do it. And I'm sure it will be one of those events that never gets old, because it's just going to be, prom after prom, and everyone's going to graduate. So it's a very much of a winning situation. Thank you.
I think so, Judy. And I think it's, and it's so true about the volunteers. Like, and I mean, it's glamorous and fun the day of the event, but there's a lot of women that, a lot of people going there and steaming dresses. Like we have probably, I'm going to say 180 or more dresses probably that we're packing away. But probably not, no, probably 100 and 120. Like we have 3 really big racks of dresses, plus now we got all these new ones from Vanessa. But the ones we pack away, of course, when you take them out, they need to be steamed because they don't look very good when they're all packed away. So it's a big job just packing them away and bringing them out and going through them. And we have a lot of volunteers that are really great at doing that for us.
And you're one of them. Again,
well,
thank you.
Yeah. And I love everything about this, and a huge thank you to all of you, and to anybody out there that's looking in need of a dress or a second dress because you're going to a couple. Absolutely stop in and make your appointment. And we wish you much success for this year, and we hope it continues for many years to come. And Judy and I are going to clean out our closets and see what we can come up with for next year. But a huge thank you to all of you, and we want to thank our viewers for tuning in today. We had some great guests on the show, and you know what? We're wishing you a wonderful week and look forward to connecting with you again next week. Thanks, everybody, and have a great week.